Welcome to The Monsters Within, a series for bringing the monsters that haunt each of the Enneagram numbers into the light. Today we're talking about Enneagram 4s, and I hope you'll find this to be frighteningly helpful. This is 9 in 9, Enneagram Wisdom for Life. Let's dive in. Hey, Enneagram 4s, welcome to The Monsters Within. I hope that you love this episode, and if you do, would you please like, subscribe, follow, and share? Help us get this Enneagram wisdom into the world. Enneagram 4s are emotionally attuned, creative, and delightfully original. They long to be seen and known, and to know and see other people. But there's an irony with the Enneagram 4 that as much as they long to be loved, they long to be seen, they long to be known, and they long to be understood, they have a broken belief inside them that would say that they're unable to be understood, unable to be completely loved, unable to be known. And we call this the push-pull cycle of the 4, where they long to draw people in, to pull people in, but at some point, they then push them away. And it's because of that belief that they're incapable of being understood, of being fully loved. Part of what's going on here is the monster within the Enneagram 4. And it is an ability to see what is missing, to see what is lacking. And so we call this monster envy. Now, this is true that an Enneagram 4 can see what's missing, what's lacking in themselves, in other people, but also just in the circumstances around them. They have a belief that other people have things that they can't have, or things come easily for another person when it doesn't come easily for them. And these are all tricks that envy is playing on their mind and in their belief system. The definition of envy is desiring something out there that is unavailable to me. That's at the heart of envy. But the 3 subtypes of the Enneagram 4 handle this in different way. It manifests differently. So I just want to run through those really, really quickly here. The 1-to-1 4 deals with the pain of envy by getting competitive. They dig in and they try to prove that they are just as worthy and just as capable of whatever the object of their envy is. And they become pretty aggressive about going after that and really having a sense, a feeling inside of trying to prove themselves worthy. The social 4 deals with envy by tending to turn internally and focusing on their internal sense of lack, their internal sense of shame, like what's wrong with me that I don't have these things, or I can't have that which I crave or desire. They can find themselves in a bit of a place of wallow, and so that's going to be a clue that there's an envy monster in the shadows. The self-preserving 4 is the counter type of the 4s. And so this 4 doesn't present in the same way as the other 2 types of 4s. When the social 4 comes across envy, when they desire something that is not available to them, that they don't have, the self-preserving 4 will become a little masochistic in like suffering, and they quietly go about trying to get it, but in a very self-depleting and self-suffering way. They live with a lot of shame on the inside, but they typically tend to focus on solving the problem outside of them as opposed to addressing the pain and suffering within them. So the first step when we're dealing with the monsters within any Enneagram type is to be able to spot it and bring it out of the shadows and into the light. And so with the Enneagram 4, we want to notice when envy is attacking. And a lot of 4s that I talk to, they know it. As soon as we talk about envy, they say, "Oh yes, I know what you're talking about." And so the better the 4 gets at spotting envy, at spotting this ability to see what's missing that they don't have, that someone else has, or a burden that they carry that someone else doesn't carry, the better a 4 can become at spotting this and naming it for what it is, which is envy, then the sooner it can be dealt with. So I mentioned some of the clues, but like you want to look for, am I getting really competitive? Am I starting to wallow? Am I being a little masochistic in the way that I'm working towards something? These are just clues that envy has taken over and is going to pull you into its envy cycle. When you spot the envy, Enneagram 4, I need you to stop and elevate. So stop the cycle, pause, and remind yourself of your worthiness. Remind yourself that you have everything you need, that you are no less worthy than any other person on this planet to have the things that are for you. Of course, not everything is for us. Everyone has different talents, abilities, circumstances, opportunities. But what is for you will always find you, and you are worthy of it. So try so hard to stop that envy cycle, elevate who you are, remind yourself of your worthiness and your love, and that will help that envy monster settle down and slither away. The ultimate goal for an Enneagram 4 is the opposite of envy, which is the virtue of equanimity. And equanimity is a big fancy word for being grounded, for being balanced, for being calm, for having perspective. When an Enneagram 4 can get grounded in their own worthiness and who they are, and they can see in a calm way all the elements that are at play, the bigger picture, the full perspective. This will create balance. This is equanimity, and it is the virtue of the Enneagram 4. I have a PDF that outlines the monsters for each Enneagram type and also the virtue, the goodness that wants to replace those monsters. If you find that helpful, it's free and you can download it in the show notes. Hey, if you're tired of those inner monsters causing you to self-sabotage and hurt yourself and others, I would love for you to join my Enneagram class called Designed for More. We're getting started on October 20th. It's just a 5-week class, but in it, you're going to learn all about your Enneagram number and all the ways that you were designed to live a life of peace, abundance, and love. As a podcast listener, you're going to get a discount of $99 when you use the discount code podcast. So go to the show notes and join us for this 5-week class on the Enneagram called Designed for More.